Today's Life Diaries is about vetting, and it might be something very new that you guys heard. And vetting is when you are trying to figure out whether a person is a right match for you. So before somebody goes to the dating stage, it's very ideal for you to learn how to vet a potential partner. So I'm going to show you the best way to determine if the person that you're interested in is worth actually pursuing before you get too involved with them, right? And whether you're going to be on the road of building a relationship with that person. And by using the technique of vetting is going to provide a very vital information for you that's going to stop you from wasting your valuable time on someone whom you might never be compatible to build a satisfying long-term committed and intimate relationship. So usually when people meet other people, all of the hormones start to kick in, and that's where the problem lies. So most people, before they get to meet somebody, they start fantasizing things that perhaps they have found their person. But just getting to know them a lot better to see if they're actually a good candidate for you. So it's kind of like you're being an investigator of that potential partner, and you're making sure to be careful that they are the right person for the job, say, for example. But you might say, how am I going to go on about that? What's the information that you're trying to find out about the person? What should I be looking for? Are there potential red flags? Well, first and foremost, what you need to know before getting into vetting, you need to have a really great list of all the qualities that you would like in your potential partner. But the fact is that the part of you that picks the person you're attracted to is not the part of you that makes that very rational, well thought out list. And we've all been there. We've all been incredibly attracted to that person, but in that state of mind, we're failing to give much thought to whether that person is really going to be a good mate for us in the long term. And you need to be aware that you're going to be under the sway of all those brain drugs, all those hormones that I constantly talk about in my videos, and I want you to look at those also. And these are the neurochemicals, like the dopamine and the adrenaline, that tend to overtake people in the early stages of a relationship when you're super attracted to somebody. And what happens when you're in that state, the rational part of your mind isn't really functioning very well. And that's where you start making all relationship mistakes. And you need to get some tools so you know that will not happen ever again. So in that way, the next time you meet somebody and you might be in that really lusty state, you're not going to get completely swept away until you find out who that person actually is. And I want you to get clear about the kind of relationship that you want. So many people put a lot of time into thinking about the kind of person that they want to attract for a long-term relationship. And that is indeed important. You want to be thinking about the things like their appearance, what they do for a living, and their personal qualities. But what you may not have realized is that there's something even more important than the kind of person you want to attract. And that's getting clear about the kind of relationship that you'd like to create with that person. You may not have given much thought to the kind of relationship you're looking for. And getting clear about this is actually a great place to start before you vet someone. And many couples suffer because they never talked about the rules of how they want to relate. They have all kinds of assumptions about what they think their partner should be doing, and how they should be treated. But they never actually sat down and agreed to those things. And now each person is expecting their partner to behave a certain way when they never even talked about it. And before you even get into a relationship with somebody, it's so critical that you have a conversation up. You have a conversation up front with that person about the kind of relationship you're looking for. And this can be a really hard thing to do. You might think that this is going to scare off the potential partner. Maybe you might worry that you're going to come off as needy, or maybe you're not fun. But if that's really the way that initiating that conversation about the kind of relationship you want to have affects the person you're on a date with, isn't it better that you know right now than just waste your time? Because it's so important to be upfront with potential partners about what's important to you. And a lot of people, especially women, they make the mistake of thinking that they should try to conform to what they think a man wants from them. And there's a lot of dating advice out there that tells women, don't put too much pressure on the guy, don't call too much. Make him think that you're only moderately interested in him. Let him come to you because you don't want to scare him off. But here is where the big problem lies. If you're somebody who actually wants a relationship with a lot of contact, connection, and affection, presenting yourself as somebody who doesn't really want that is going to bite you in the butt in the end. You might be a person who needs a lot of reassurance that your partner loves you and a lot of affection. And if this is you, it's important that you're upfront with a potential partner pretty early on about that. Now, you might worry that that's going to make you sound needy, but actually the opposite is true. And I'll tell you why. If you come out proactively and you tell a potential partner about the kind of person you are in a very level-headed, sober kind of way, that's going to make you sound very assertive and self-confident. And it can clearly convey to them that you know yourself. And that actually is a turn on. Now, the other great thing about doing this is that you're setting a tone for the kind of relationship you want to have by modeling it. And you're modeling open communication about your needs with that potential partner. And if that person isn't interested in that kind of relationship where people talk openly about what they need from each other, then good. It's good that these guys or women can go away. And it's a good thing that you found out now, because there are plenty of more fish in the sea. There are people out there who are truly interested in having a relationship where they talk very openly about what they need, where there's lots of affection, and where there's reassurance and all of these things. And there are people out there that are vulnerable and they don't feel shame by being vulnerable. And these are the people who you might be wanting to attract. And talking openly with a potential partner about the kind of relationship you're interested in building right from the start is going to help you narrow down who the real candidates are for you. So say, for example, you might say, I want a relationship that's based on complete honesty between us. And I want to have a relationship where we comfort each other when we're upset. So if you start putting ideas out there like that to people, anybody who's not interested is going to run screaming in the opposite direction. And that way you know this is not the right person for you. And I want you to think about the principles you'd like your relationship to be based on. Because there are plenty of people, both men and women, who really value relationship and want to talk about it right from the beginning. And if you're at that point that you're looking for a long-term, committed, intimate relationship, it's important that you reflect on the principles that you would like the relationship to be based on. So would you like the relationship to be based on things like empathy for each other? How about fairness? How about sensitivity? How about being available to each other? And how about making the relationship the number one commitment in both of your lives? Right? Part of becoming a great couple is all about knowing yourself, what you need in order to feel safe and secure in relationship. You put those things out there right from the beginning so that there's no confusion and you can find the perfect match. So you need to understand about the kind of relationship you want right from the get-go, and you're more likely to create that kind of relationship you want. It's much better than hanging back on the sidelines and not saying anything because you don't want your partner to think that you have too many needs. So there are a lot of couples out there who have open conversations that are ongoing with each other about the kind of relationship they want. They check in about how they're doing in following the agreements they've made together. And they revisit conversations in an ongoing way to make sure that nobody feels resentful or like they're getting the short end of the stick. And you need to be ready to weed out partners who aren't a good fit right from the start. So when it comes to dating tips for women or men, you need to have an upfront conversation with a potential mate about the kind of relationship you're looking for. And this is so critical. And that way, you can remove out the people who aren't interested in building that kind of relationship.